In every video I make, I often get questions as to why I run around when I do some of the jungle camps, or why I don't take damage from certain camps or whatever. Well, these are fundamental leeching tricks, and in this video I'm going to highlight them. They're very easy to replicate, but they're not accessible to every champion. Most noticeably, some melee champions just can't flat out do any of these. But still, they're all advantageous in some way, some more reasonable than others, and others are just kind of riskier to do, but you know, it's always good to know them. Alright, in this one I showcase a certain type of self-leash you can do that requires having a lot of attack speed or some kind of form of dealing constant damage. You essentially stand at the border of where the enemy monster could leash to, or better yet, where they can attack you from, like how far they can chase you. Stand between that and just keep blasting away at the monster. Essentially, the monster tries to go attack you beyond that border, but can't, therefore it resets. But since you're dealing constant damage to it, it re-aggros to you before it can go back to heal. This works on every camp, as long as you stand in that little tiny spot where it can no longer chase you. In this next example, you can see I dick around in the border. Like, I know where the border is at, but I keep going back and forth and a little farther away. No. You have to make sure you stand where they could almost hit you. So, and if you dick around on that border, even if it's, you know, on a line where they can still travel to, you have more than not, you're just gonna end up resetting them, and they're gonna heal themselves in some way. So just stay still. Now, this is one you constantly see me do in my clear videos. For champions that don't have a lot of attack speed or lack any sort of damage over times that can, you know, so they can reset the jungle monster at that little border, they could just run around in circles and kite the monster around, and this way you can potentially prevent the enemy monster from dealing 1 or 2 attacks on you, simply by the fact that they have to catch back up to you, and they, you know, you either cancel their animation or whatever. So it's just one way to nullify just a little bit of damage from the monsters. As I've mentioned already, melee champions usually have the most difficult time doing any sort of trick leashes. However, melee champions with a ranged spell or a damage over time can still either kite the monster to prevent some damage being dealt to them, or, you know, do that little border trick and just outright prevent damage altogether. Champions like Nasus, for instance, he's got his spirit, you know, his little spirit fire thing that enables him to function well. Or use these leashes to his advantage. And then there are champions with, like Gangplank, who have a dot on his auto attacks and then he just applies them. He has probably the easiest time taking advantage of these leash tricks. Though, to be fair, any champion that has red can take advantage of this dot trick to, you know, at least leash him back and forth between the dot. Here's just the Gangplank example. He has perhaps the easiest time. You may still take a little one hit or two, but thanks to his passive and to the red buff, you can see that, you know, a melee champion can just prevent damage, or a good portion of damage, by abusing the leash mechanics of these, you know, stupid monsters.